We might have said goodbye to 2018, but the tree stays up until Epiphany. That's the proper way of doing things. And since we've now said goodbye to 2018, I wanted to count down my top 10 favorite films from this year, in no particular order. These aren't necessarily films that I thought were especially feminist, they were just the ones I saw that I enjoyed, that touched me in some way. And if something didn't make the list, well, either I didn't see it, which is the case with some movies this year that were really good and I feel bad about that, or, well, they just didn't make the cut. Sorry, it happens. If you want me to see more movies this year, then I recommend supporting me on Patreon, because the more Patreon supporters I have, the more money I make and the more movies I can go to see in the theater. Are you ready? Let's begin. I already did a Rambles video, so I'll be brief. This is just a really sweet cinnamon roll of a movie, in my opinion. And since I've seen it, I've noticed some things that I didn't before, thanks to other people pointing them out, particularly how there's a level of neurodivergent coding, particularly in that scene of Pooh and Christopher Robin on the train. And, yeah, I still really like it. It makes me want to hug a stuffed animal every time I see it, and that's good. I didn't get into this in my original Rambles video, so I'll say it now. I like that Madeline and Evelyn both have their own sort of character arcs. I mean, they are still supporting players because it's not necessarily their narrative, but they're not sexy lamps. You couldn't replace them with an inanimate object and still have a completely functioning movie. They matter. All in all, I think that it's a good movie, and I really like it. If a movie makes me feel happy while also making me cry, that's a win in my book. So if you follow me on Twitter, you probably know that I've been really salty on behalf of Natalie Portman for not getting any major nominations for her work in this movie. And, I mean, I'm still salty because she's amazing in it, but, I kind of get it now. I think that this is a case of a movie where the whole is not equal to the sum of its parts. The performances are all great. Natalie Portman, Raffi Cassidy, and Jude Law, more than anybody else, carry the movie. They're fantastic. I love the Sia songs. I have more than a few of them now in my workout playlist because they are great. And there's a lot of good subtext and commentary in the script, but the script and the directing are, I think, the two weakest points. And I'll try to get into that without spoiling the movie, because I do think this is something you should see. That's provided that you're not going to be super triggered by a very graphic opening of a school shooting or a lot of flashing lights. This was not a good year to be photosensitive epileptic. Really not a good year. So I think what happened with Vox Lux is that the director, Brady Corbet, had a lot of ideas milling around in his head, and he decided to take a little bit of all of them rather than committing to one vision. There are times when the movie plays out as a pretty conventional narrative, but then there's the choice to splice in narration from Willem Dafoe. And that's an issue in multiple ways, because A, narration lets you cut around the silly show-don't-tell burden that some filmmakers don't like, but the narration works in places, and I think that if they'd gone full documentary drama, like This Is Spinal Tap, I mean, that's not drama, but if they'd gone for more of a documentary feel, then Dafoe wouldn't feel out of place. But so when he just starts talking and info dumping over a shot of Natalie Portman and Raffi Cassidy just walking, you're kind of like, I would rather be seeing this. And also, he talks at some of the most inopportune times, namely the concert sequence. Like, dude, I'm trying to listen to Natalie Portman sing. Can you not? All that being said, I still like this movie a lot, and I will take it over A Star Is Born any day. If A Star Is Born wins at the Oscars, I'm just, no. Bad movie. Bad movie. Not good. Vox Lux, better than A Star Is Born. Fight me. Whitewashing sucks. Alex Garland should have read all 3 Southern Reach trilogy books before he started writing Annihilation. He backed himself into a corner and, well, We all saw what happened on the internet. If we could separate film from book, then Annihilation would be able to stand on its own as something really, really great. I mean, it was hypothetically another step in, normalizing a mainly female ensemble, but the whole fact that it was released a week after Black Panther kind of killed its momentum completely. Curse you, Paramount. All that being said, great actors, great effects, interesting story, a lot of poignant statements about depression and mental health in general, and I really liked it a lot, and it's trippy as all hell. Obama made it one of his favorite movies of the year, so it's gotta be at least a little good. Okay, full disclosure, I only decided to see Into the Spider-Verse because of John Mulaney. I mean, how can you not? It's John Mulaney. But man, am I glad that I saw it. This is another one that is not safe for the photosensitive epileptic, and I'm sorry for that. I am really sorry for that, because this is a great movie. I mean, even if real world events hadn't conspired to make it so much more meaningful, it would still be a really, really great movie, because it's so sweet and loving towards the genres that it's simultaneously mocking and riffing on. This is a movie that's a love letter to Spider-Man lore, to comic books, to the actors who are all impeccably cast. And I know that Miles especially means a lot to a lot of people in the audiences who are seeing it now, and I'm glad that they have him up on the big screen. And I'm starting to think that Phil Lord and Chris Miller are kind of what John Clemens and Ron Musker were to the Disney Renaissance. They are wonderfully creative and loving animators who just stuff all of their animated movies with so much cool stuff. It's fantastic. So excited for Lego Movie, the second part. Spider-Verse is fantastic. I really, really love it, and I don't know, maybe I'll see it again. So, like I said in my Ghostbusters review, I'm not thrilled with this whole reboot spin-off of pre-existing male-dominated franchise as the way that we get female-led ensembles into big mainstream movies, but I ended up seeing this one twice in the theater, and, well, I really, really liked it. It's a lot of fun, and that's mainly on the merits of the cast. What can I say? I like having a movie where I can turn my brain off and just watch a bunch of smart, confident, competent women do shit while looking fabulous in it. Seriously, the one quibble I have with this movie isn't even really a plot-related one, it's more of a budget thing, because they clearly did not have a budget to go, full European royalty for their proposed Met Gala theme, and just... Anna Wintour, I doubt that you watch my show, but if you do, please make this a thing that happens later on. I want to see that. Rihanna alone would rock it. There's nothing wrong with liking costuming and fashion. This is another one where my opinions have kind of changed since I saw it and filmed my Rambles video. And a lot of that comes from the fact that for the last 4.5 months, I've been spending about 6 hours a week with an Afro-pessimist who doesn't like the movie. And I won't go into details on his views because A, I don't want to misrepresent them, and B, while he does make legitimate points, I still enjoy the movie. And I think that it's still important for us to be able to like stuff while criticizing it and thinking objectively about what is or isn't working. So, you know what, I'm glad that I have a different point of view tempering my mindset about Black Panther now. I'm still glad that Black Panther is around because it filled the Marvel epic royal drama hole left in my heart by Thor Ragnarok destroying everything. And I'm glad that people have latched on so much to it as representation. I'm glad that Shuri and Nakia and Okoye exist as characters now. I am glad that it's prompting conversations and getting people to think about this kind of stuff. Fingers crossed for the Oscars, guys. And if nothing else, it's a demonstration of supply and demand in motion. Because it showed that increased visibility is a lucrative market. maybe just don't put them right next to each other, which leads me into... To hell with anybody who said this movie is bad. I really like it, and I am going to defend it until my dying breath. It's visually stunning, Ava DuVernay is a fantastic director, and you know what, you nitpicking jerks? Maybe this movie wasn't made for you, and maybe it's okay that it was made for girls! Go ahead, whine about it being, about the power of love, but you're way oversimplifying. It's about loving yourself, flaws and strengths, embracing all of it and letting that make you a better person, being confronted with perfection and realizing that it's not as good as being human. That's something that a lot of people, especially women, need to see a lot more of in their lives. So you know what? Meh. And you can bet I will be there with bells on for the Central Park 5 series and for New Gods, because Ava DuVernay deserves my support, Storm Reid deserves my support, and this movie deserved more support. It was awesome. It took me 10 days after this movie came out to finally get around to seeing it, but it was worth the wait, and I don't know, some people were comparing it to, Mary Poppins Returns is to Mary Poppins as The Force Awakens is to A New Hope. But I think that it works better than the copy-paste thing did with A New Hope / Force Awakens because A, the filmmakers seemed a little more aware of it, but also it kind of needed to be that way because it's, well, A, it's for a new generation, and also it's for a generation that has grown and changed, but patterns are still repeating, and you see it affecting the family in different ways. I think that some people are deliberately simplifying, oh, it's just Michael is now Mr. Banks, and, it's the same story. It's not really the same, and it's wonderful. It's a wonderful cast. I think the breakout person for me, more than anybody else, was not Emily Blunt or Lin-Manuel Miranda, although both of them were absolutely fantastic. I honestly think it was Emily Mortimer as Jane, and that both delights me and frustrates me because she packs so much into both believably recapturing Karen Daughtris as an actress and also giving you so much to think about Jane just in the little touches. And so it's a shame that the movie doesn't give her more attention. The most attention it gives her is a small subplot that I don't feel comfortable getting into without spoilers, but I think it cheapens certain moments of the movie. You can see and decide for yourself. I don't want to color anybody's opinion about that. But the animation sequences alone are worth it, and the songs are worth it, and even if this one is a little more, plot-driven rather than vignette-y the way the first film was, or the books were, I think that's nice. I really do enjoy it, and I will definitely be seeing it again in the new year, because I loved it. It made my heart leap up, up, up. Nowhere to go but up. I wasn't sure whether or not to count this one since it was a Netflix movie, but it really did affect me, and I really, really liked it. I wasn't going to watch it until I got a recommendation from the Cherry Godmother to do so, and I'm glad that she did that. I think that this is the perfect body positivity kind of movie. I've been going to movie theaters and I've had to see that stupid Rebel Wilson trapped in a romantic comedy trailer too many times. No. But this is how you make a romantic comedy with a plus-sized lead. It is wonderful, and the romantic aspect of the romantic comedy doesn't even really play into it that much because it's more about this barrier between a mother and a daughter who have never really connected, and they find a way to connect, and the daughter confronts all of her issues and her baggage, and it's wonderful. my main quibble with this is magical minority drag queens. Like, yeah, when do we get to the point where minorities stop being there to help other people's narratives advance rather than getting their own? It's frustrating. It's still a really sweet movie. I honestly don't think it has a mean bone in its body. They're just people. Just people who are trying their best and have clear bits of baggage that sometimes color themselves negatively, but they recognize it and work towards bettering it, and no one is free of flaws, but no one is beyond being saved. That's just such a good thing to have around. More of that, please. And the last one I want to talk about is... yeah, I'm surprised too that this one made my list. But it was just so smart and so willing to poke fun at itself. I think it kind of falls into the same category as Into the Spider-Verse, as something that's willing to look at everything it has been and everything it could be and says, let's do all of it. Let's talk about all of it, and still manage to deliver a self-contained narrative that has a really important message and gives us some sweet, sweet hope for a Teen Titans Season 6. Starfire, you're finally getting an arc! Please, please, please! Yeah. So, I've laid out my issues with what Teen Titans Go had in my Rambles video, but I don't know, it's easy to overlook them because it's just such a fun movie. It's very Mel Brooksy. Like, I feel like if Mel Brooks were gonna make an animated movie, this is the kind of animated movie that he would make. It's just so tongue-in-cheek and so fun. It's just really fun. So I'm looking forward to a new year and new challenges. If you want to help me get through them, links for Patreon are down there. I do have some requests already in, but I can take more. And please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you all very soon. A bientôt!